Yeah, this one will probably be a little different. It won't be too long. Um, I'm just in a day. It's one of them days like reflection. One of the things I love about birthdays is birthdays like New Year's resolution. Like thinking when the new year hits, I don't. The new year to me is not the year that I kind of reflect and think about the previous year. It's usually birthday to birthday. So today's my birthday, and I'm not saying this to get anything from anyone. But if you want to throw something to Cash App or Venmo, go ahead and do that. But I'm saying this more so because for me, birthdays are a day of reflection and just thinking. And so this one won't be too long. I just wanted to share just a thought or two about this because I've realized this past year has been different for me. And so because when it's your birthday and you think about the previous year, you kind of get into it. So let's jump in. This is day 34 of 100 days of posting. Welcome to CNN. I'm Kirk Kennedy. I'll be your host. Let's go in. The title of this kind of talk is called Gratitude is a Grind. And let me tell you why I'm saying that. So today's my birthday, and I woke up today and I realized that today felt before anything had happened, before any happy birthdays, before anybody said anything encouraging, before any Facebook people who are saying happy birthday, they're being gracious. They don't really know you, but they got a notification. So that's cool. Facebook is good for some things. Before any of that hit in, before anybody threw anything in my Venmo or just wanted to bless me through PayPal, before any of that, I realized that today's birthday felt different. And I was trying to figure out, okay, what is the difference? And I think, the last couple of years, since 2020 at least, anyone who's worked in some kind of ministry has felt the weight of COVID, and then 2020 and 2020, and then 2021 they had its own thing, and then just in 2020. And so the last couple of years have been a lot of it has just been trying to press into the Lord and remind people to do that when people have and Christians, by people I mean Christians, by fellow believers, have just felt less of a need to do that. And I realized that over the last few years, as I've really been able to identify and call out people's entitlement, I've actually had my own entitlement. And the Lord has been helping me see that. And I think entitlement is the greatest scheme of the devil in this day and age. It's not new, but it has become the greatest scheme of the enemy, is that we're all entitled. And I can tell you right now, whenever you are entitled, whenever you're angry at a person or God, you can almost always bet that you feel entitled to something from that person, or you have expectations that just did not get met. I would beg to differ that almost 100% of anger towards God or others is entitlement, is somewhere there. You deserve something from them, whether it's respect, whether it's acknowledgement, whether it's whatever it is. You just feel entitled, and when you don't get that, you just get offended. And I see that a lot. And so gratitude would be the opposite of entitlement. Gratitude would say, I'm grateful for what I have, and I think it's connected to what I really do deserve. Right? I used to be a part of a family of churches where the founder used to always say, "How you doing, man? Better than I deserve." And I respected that. I thought that was a real statement, and I think it's a statement that's lost in sort of evangelicalism, particularly in America. I want to even just the church. I think there is a wave of entitlement among believers that has crippled us. And what COVID did was COVID exacerbated that. So when that hit, people, it was understandable to not go to church, understandable to not serve, understandable to not be around people. And it almost became to some degree an entitlement, like that's to be expected. Like people, we were live streaming, and all of a sudden live streaming became what we have to do for people to go to church rather than a resource that we used in a time of crisis. And I know I talked to a lot of pastors over those years, and they felt the same ways. And there was a sense where, like, it almost became believers almost felt entitled to not have to honor the Lord anymore, or to not do it to the in any ways that make them uncomfortable, right? So it became like, hey, I'm not comfortable coming to church. I'm not comfortable not being around people who don't wear masks. I'm not comfortable with it. But then once everything got back to like normal, where you could do that, there's still people that are using the same logic. And there's a sense of what COVID and other things have done is give us a sense of entitlement. Like we're entitled. We have these expectations that I don't think honor the Lord at all. And I realized as a pastor, as I was going after people's entitlement, I had my own entitlement issues going on. And even though I was trying to do it to honor the Lord, I felt entitled that people should hear what I'm saying and listen to me and act because it honors the Lord. And I would get tempted at people. And, and again, whenever you're angry or offended at God or people, there's an entitlement or some unmet expectation that's looming. I promise you. Entitlement is the one word that's not in the Bible that a lot of sin happens because people feel entitled. Think about like when you're bitter at someone. Why are you bitter? Because you've been offended. You were entitled to a particular way of being treated. You haven't been treated that way. You haven't been treated that way. So now you're entitled to act accordingly, to treat them the way they're treating you. Even though the Bible says treat others the way you want to be treated, not the way they're treating you, right? So entitlement is a big deal. I think it goes, and I think that's killing. That's the enemy's greatest scheme right now. But as I woke up this morning, I realized that in my church in particular, we've been going through a series called the Supernatural Storyline of the Bible in September, and it has transformed our church. It's transformed. Siri's always talking when I don't want her to talk. That's the enemy. That's the devil right there. The devil is entitled to interrupt me right now. But we've been going through this series, and it is transforming lives in our church. People are falling back in love with their Bibles. They're seeing new things. They're loving God. They're not on some kooky, like I'm real both in the way I carry myself, and I'm real about the scripture. So we're not on no Ghostbusters theology and all of this stuff. It's real biblical. We're not just going to Ephesians 6. Spiritual warfare is so much deeper than going to Ephesians 6. And I actually think that pastors do a disservice to their churches by immediately going to Ephesians 6, because I'll just say this, because when you do that, you're assuming that spiritual warfare is about you and I and us fighting against the enemy. But spiritual warfare is first and foremost God fighting against the other gods, right? The other cosmic powers of evil. It's not about primarily you and I. We reduce everything to us because we participate, but we're not the main reason why spiritual warfare happens. Jesus didn't come just because we sinned. He came to overthrow the power and the works of the devil. And that's spiritual warfare right there. So our church has been transformed by this. And I woke up this morning with the sense of like real gratitude. And I realized that gratitude is a grind. Like these last 3 years have been 3 of the toughest years ever in ministry in particular, because it was just a grind. You had to press in. And there were times I didn't think my church would get to where it is right now. Well, I mean, but now there was a time where everyone was like, I don't know if I feel like going to church today, to now people are like, man, I can't wait to be at church. I'm not missing it on Sunday. It's been so long since I saw that. So I woke up this morning, before any happy birthdays, before any encouragements, before any Cash App hits or Venmo or whatever, before any Facebook stuff, I just woke up with a sense of gratitude at where my church is. And I've been good. I've been satisfied and pleased. So I went in, I got my hair done this morning, rode to the barbershop, was just singing worship songs, just in gratitude of the Lord, because it's been a grind. It's a grind. And I think sometimes when we read scriptures or we talk about them, we act as if you got to count it as joy, but that's a grind, fam. There's a reason why the Bible says those who conquer to the end, Revelation 21, right? Those who persevere to the end, so to speak. So I feel like we don't always give it the credit. Like gratitude is a grind, but it's a good grind. And today, when I woke up this morning, I was just thinking, wow, I feel this is different than the last 3 years. Today, I'm grateful more so than ever, because we've been grinding. And now I feel like the Lord is saying, you know, here's a time of refreshing. Here's some encouragement to you for your grinding. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. I'm not going to be here long. I'm going to go hang out with my family and I'll do all that stuff. And I'm actually going to surprise my kids. I'm going to bless my kids. I'm trying to teach them that when it's your birthday, it's not the day that you get to be whatever you want. Everybody serves you, but use that day to bless and serve others. So I got 2 surprises for my kids and stuff, and even was able to bless my wife this morning. Didn't make it about me, you know. Now, don't get me wrong. I ain't, you know, you know. Somebody sent me an Amazon gift card. I ain't mad at it, but that's not really what we doing. So hey, but having said that, grateful for you all. Thank you for riding with me, being in this. The channel's slowly growing, and all I'm trying to do is be able to have more access to encourage people. You all have told me that you've been encouraged by these videos and others, and I'm grateful for that. So appreciate y'all. Thank you again. Gratitude is a grind. Sometimes just say, you know what? I'm doing better than I deserve. When you don't know, when things aren't, you're suffering and stuff is, you could be worse off. You're doing better than you deserve. You deserve God's wrath, but you're receiving his grace at this moment. So let that guide you. Happy birthday to you when it's your day. But since it's my day, it's me. Appreciate y'all. Grace and peace. See you.